Hello, I'm Parsia from Dot.tk, and for today's developer quick tip, we'll be talking about ternary operators in C++. Now, many of you might not know what ternary is or what it means. Ternary means to be composed of 3 items. So what in C++ is actually composed of 3 items? With this vastly intricate language, it's going to be kind of hard to figure it out. Here's a hint. The ternary operator actually replaces something. Now, mind you, it's not going to fully replace it, but it'll replace it to the extent where you can use less lines of code to do something simple. Have you figured it out? If you haven't, here it is. It replaces the if statement. Now, what can replace the if statement? The ternary operator, as I just said. But how can it replace it? And we'll talk about that now. The ternary operator doesn't completely replace the if statement, but it does replace it when you want to write simple things. First, let's talk about the syntax, then we'll write an example. The proper syntax for the ternary operator is right here. Boop, 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 boop. First comes the condition, then a question mark indicating the if, and then what to do if it's true, a colon, and what to do if it's false. This can only be used for the simple things without making your code look terrible. And I kind of figured I would show you guys how to use it because it may be a little difficult at first. So why don't we go write a simple program for it. Okay, let's analyze the simple program I wrote demonstrating the power of the ternary operator. So it starts off like any other program, pound include the library, which this time is going to be IOStream, like most programs. Then what namespace we're using, you don't have to include it, but it gets rid of a lot of the nuisances, like putting std::c out. Then I set up int main, and I declared 2 variables of data type int, one being a and one being b, and I set them equal to 0. The next 4 lines are just taking the inputs for each variable, one being a and one being b. And the last 3 lines are actually just displaying the largest and the smallest numbers. So I display the largest number, and I write a ternary operation to see which one is the largest number. So the condition is a is greater than b. And if that's true, you display a, and if that's false, you display b. Next line goes to the smallest number, and it's basically the same thing, just flipped. So the condition is a is less than b, and if it's true, you display a, and if it's false, you display b. Then you end the line. You don't have to do it that way. You can do a simple, \n, but it doesn't matter. And then I return 0. Now, we want to compile this using the terminal window, so I'm going to teach you guys how to do that. If you have G++ compiler installed, which usually you should, if you have Xcode and things like that. But to compile it, you change directories, which is cd. You go to wherever it's saved. Mine is saved on the desktop. Then you declare G++ -o, the name of the program. You don't have to add any extension, just ternary or whatever you want to call it. And then ternary.cpp, which is the name of the actual file. Then press enter. It'll start to compile, and it'll work. Now you can actually double click on the program and it'll run it. And it'll ask, what number for A? So I'll press 89. And then what number for B? I'll put in 103. And it'll display the largest number as 103 and the smallest as 89. As you can see, this program worked quite nicely. Now if I did it backwards and I put A as, let's say, 103 and B as 89, it would still display 103 and 89 as the largest and smallest because obviously that is the largest and that is the smallest.